Hello and welcome. Let's take a look at the big story we are tracking for you. The Quadrilateral Security Dialogue members are all set to gather in Tokyo. The grouping includes India, Australia, the United States, and Japan. Like any foreign meetings taking place, Ukraine and Russian war is likely to dominate the talks. The bloc did meet on the 2nd of March of this year, just 6 days after the Russia invasion of Ukraine, but the war was at a very premature stage at that point. But with nearly 90 days now, countries have shaped their stance and policies around it. The Quad group is expected to showcase a united front against Russia's brutalities, but this puts India in a tricky situation. Because unlike India, the other three countries have sided with Ukraine. They have penalized Russia with sanctions and burned almost all bridges with the country. However, India has chosen a different path. It has chosen dialogue over criticism. So it will be interesting to see if the four countries will manage to come to the same page. Apart from this global issue, there are regional crises that is bothering the group. China. The country is rapidly becoming more hostile across the Indo-Pacific. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been seen as a wake-up call for Taiwan, which is a province that China claims as theirs. The United States, along with its allies in Asia, have stood against China's encroachment habits, so a plan for Taiwan's military emergency is also on the cards. Australia's election is ongoing as we speak. The results will also be out early next week. So if the incumbent loses against his rival, the May 24th Quad Summit will have a new leader at the table. So at the moment, it is unclear how the Labour Party leader Anthony Albanese plans to view the war. And not just that, it is also not certain if he will align his stance with the other Quad members.
Here we go. Trying. Hang on. Can you just go back?
Let's now go to WION's managing editor, Palki Sharma Upadhyay, who joins us from Tokyo. Hello to you, Palki. Now, how much of the focus will be on the Ukraine war, which has entered its third month now as the Quad leaders meet in Tokyo?
Well, this is an international forum where the US president is going to be participating. Of course, they'll talk about Ukraine. And I think all sides will agree that there is a need to immediately end the hostilities in Ukraine. Having said that, there are two interesting developments that took place today, Alison. One was in Bangkok, where representatives of 5 democracies, including Japan and the US, walked out of a meeting. This was a meeting of APEC ministers, Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation. And when the Russian representatives started speaking, these trade ministers staged a walkout, and this is to show that on every possible platform they are going to put pressure on Russia and protest against Russia. That is one part of the story. The second is that the threat from China remains closer to home for Japan. Chinese expansionism in Taiwan remains a concern, and today Japan lodged a formal protest over the development of ocean gas fields. The ministry in Japan, the foreign ministry, said that this is the 17th Chinese structure of its kind that has come up. So you see the two issues that are going to be in focus. Yes, they will talk about Ukraine, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India is the senior-most member of the Quad now, and the challenge before him will be to put forward India's point firmly and clearly, while at the same time ensure that the US and others do not hijack the Quad agenda by bringing the focus only on Russia.
Right. Also, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to hold crucial bilaterals on the sidelines of the Quad. What details do we have on that?
These will be very important meetings. Remember, his meeting with the US President Joe Biden will be his first in-person meeting since the hostilities broke out in Ukraine, since Russia invaded Ukraine. So this will be a good place to sort of share notes and put forth India's point very clearly. Remember, India has been under considerable pressure from the US to join the sanctions against Russia, to not buy Russian oil. So this meeting should help in in bridging some of those divides. As far as Japan is concerned, again, a very, very important partnership here. The Japanese Prime Minister Kishida visited India in the month of March, promised more than $40 billion in projects. So this will be a good opportunity to revisit that commitment and the relationship and where it goes from here. As for Australia, we may have a new Prime Minister in Australia. You just told our viewers about the elections that have taken place today. So will it be Scott Morrison coming back with his samosa talk with Narendra Modi, or will it be a new Prime Minister who joins, in which case it will be a good opportunity. Remember, last month he was in France, the first world leader to meet the French president after he won his re-election, and this time it could be the Australian leader, whether it's Scott Morrison or Anthony Albanese. So three very crucial bilateral meetings that the Prime Minister will be having in Tokyo. Apart from that, of course, meetings with the Indian diaspora. There's a community event that's lined up, and that's one of the specialities of the Indian Prime Minister. He goes and his outreach to the Indian community and to the business community remains one of the highlights of his foreign visits.
Right, Palki, thank you very much for joining us and bringing us all the latest details coming out of that Quad meeting.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.